Hello students, how are you? Hope you are doing well in your chemistry. Previously we have taken the chapter solutions. I know that you have prepared ideal solutions and non-ideal solutions. In that we have also discussed positive deviations and negative deviations. Today in this video I am going to discuss with you the colligative properties. So let's start our video. Colligative properties. Now students, what are colligative properties? Colligative properties are those properties that do not depend upon the nature of the solute but they depend upon the quantity of the solute, that is the number of the particles of the solute that are participating in any reactions in solutions. Basically we are going to discuss four colligative properties, that is freezing point depression. You know what is freezing point? The point at which the liquid phase becomes equal to the solid phase. And the boiling point elevation, you know the boiling point, it is the temperature at which the liquid phase becomes equal to the vapor pressure. Now we are going to discuss about osmotic pressure. You already know what is osmosis. That is the flow of solvent particles from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. But this property is different. This is osmotic pressure. Then we are going to discuss the vapor pressure, the pressure exerted by the vapors. So let's start with the colligative properties. We'll take one by one. So as I have discussed with you, colligative properties, they do not depend upon the nature of the particles but they depend upon the number of the solute particles. And among colligative properties we are going to discuss the vapor pressure lowering, boiling point elevation, freezing point depression and osmotic pressure. So let's start with the first property of colligative, that is lowering the vapor pressure. You see, in this container there is a liquid, okay, and it is establishing equilibrium with the vapor pressure outside. When the equilibrium is reached, the pressure exerted by the vapor, it is called the vapor pressure. Now suppose I add some non-volatile solute to this beaker, then the surface will be occupied by the non-volatile solute as well as by the solvent particles, but before adding non-volatile solute, the surface was mostly covered by the solvent particles. So you see that there is a relative lowering of vapor pressure. You can also see, we can just make it clear with another diagram. In this you know that the vapor pressure and the liquid, they both are in equilibrium. Now we have added some non-volatile solute. As we have added non-volatile solute, the number of the particles that are vaporizing has reduced. So this is known as the relative lowering of vapor pressure, since the surface that can cause through which the particles can go in the vapor phase is less available since we have added the non-volatile solute. Now how can we derive it according to the Raoult's law? P naught is our vapor pressure of the pure solvent, you know. P is the vapor pressure of the solvent in solution. So the relative lowering will be, it will be P naught minus P. Okay. So this is relative lowering of vapor pressure. Now how we will calculate the relative lowering of vapor pressure? Will be just dividing it with our vapor pressure of the pure solvent. So we will be getting it P naught minus P upon P naught. Actually this is our relative lowering of vapor pressure. You know that the sum of the mole fractions is equal to 1. From here we will derive the value of XB, that will be equal to 1 minus psi A. Now we know that we will be subtracting Pa upon P naught A from 1. Similarly, we will be subtracting mole fraction of the A solute. After subtracting this 1 minus A XA, we will put XB in place of it, and now we will be getting P naught A minus Pa upon P naught A. This is our final equation for the relative lowering of vapor pressure. In a dilute solution also, n is far greater. So we can just ignore it in the denominator, where small w denotes the weight of the solute, capital W it's the weight of the solvent, m is the molecular weight of the solute, and capital M is the molecular weight of the solvent. So here you can also calculate using this formula, and this is the relative lowering of vapor pressure. Our next colligative property is elevation in boiling point. Elevation means rising in boiling points. So boiling point, as you know, is a temperature at which the vapor pressure becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure. Elevation in the boiling points is also known as ebullioscopy. So what we want to discuss is, as we are increasing the temperature of a solution, then when we have already added non-volatile solute to it, then what happens, there is a change in temperature, and that is there is a rise in temperature on adding a non-volatile solute, and that change in temperature, it is denoted by delta TB. It is directly proportional to the molality, and when we just remove this proportionality symbol, we will getting it as Kb into M. This Kb is also known as ebullioscopic constant, and here you can calculate its value using these terms. So how? Delta TB is equal to Kb into weight of the solute upon its molecular mass into weight of the solvent multiplied by 1000, and from here you can calculate the delta TB. But students, somehow question also comes to calculate the molecular mass. From it you can calculate, I have given this formula also, how to calculate the molecular weight of the solute. Our next is depression in freezing point. This is our third property. Freezing point, you know, as the temperature at which the liquid and solid form of the substance, they are in equilibrium and they all have the same vapor pressure. Now due to the vapor pressure of the solution, as soon as we add some non-volatile solute to it, what happens? The solution, the temperature of the solution separates out, that the solute separates out at a lower temperature as expected. So it is the decrease in freezing point of a solvent, that is due to the addition of a non-volatile solute. We have added non-volatile solute, so on adding this, there is a decrease in the freezing point of the solvent, and this is also known as cryoscopy. Depression in freezing point is denoted by delta TF. It is directly proportional to the molality. Now when we remove this proportionality symbol, we will get this Kf into M, and here how you can also calculate the delta TF, that is the change in the temperature, that is the depression in the freezing point, and from here also you can also calculate the molecular weight of the solute, similarly as we have calculated in the elevation in the boiling point. The next fourth property is osmotic pressure. As I have told you, osmosis is the process in which the solvent particles moves from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. So what is osmotic pressure? Osmotic pressure is the external pressure that is applied in order to prevent the process of osmosis, that is it reverses the direction of the osmosis, that is it allows the, you can see the solute, the seawater. Here you just look at this figure. Here you can see this is the process of osmosis. This is pure water, seawater separated by a semi-permeable membrane. Water flows from dilute to concentrated solution. This is pure water, but this is concentrated because it contains salt, that is solute particles. Here what happens? Now we are applying osmotic pressure here. Now on applying osmotic pressure, what happens? Now the seawater starts flowing towards the pure water through a semi-permeable membrane. This is known as the reverse osmosis. Why this has been possible? Just because of the applying of the pressure. This pressure is known as the osmotic pressure. Students, through the use of osmotic pressure, we can also calculate the molecular weight as we have calculated in our previous colligative properties you have seen. Here I would like to tell you a little later on how we will be calculating the molecular weight using osmotic pressure. First, I just want to discuss with you what are isotonic solutions. Isotonic solutions, it refers to two solutions that have the same osmotic pressure and they are separated by a semi-permeable membrane, that is the free movement of the water across the membrane without changing the concentration of either of the side. Kisi side, in any side we are not changing the concentration of the solvent that we have taken, that is both the solvents they have the same osmotic pressure. Next is hypotonic solutions. Now what are hypotonic solutions? It is any solution that has a lower osmotic pressure than another solutions. We are taking two solutions, one is having a lower osmotic pressure as compared to that of the other solutions. So, and such hypotonic solutions, they are used in different biological fields, and it generally refers to a solution that has less solute and more water than another solutions. You can take the hypotonic solutions, you can take the example of sodium chloride, and the concentration, that is its percentage is near about 0.45%, and it's commonly known as normal saline solution. So, this is hypotonic solutions, they are also used in some biological fields. The next one is hypertonic solutions. What are hypertonic solutions? It's a solution that has more osmotic pressure as compared to the other solution, and it is also finds use in some specific fields. A solution of 5% dextrose, that is sugar, and 0.45 sodium chloride solution, it is an example of hypertonic solutions. So, we have discussed isotonic solutions, hypotonic solutions and hypertonic solutions. So, here comes how we can derive the molecular weight from using the formula from osmotic pressure. You already know that in ideal gas equation PV is equal to nRT. What you have to do, just put pi instead of P and you will get the equation to calculate the osmotic pressure through it. And now how you are going to calculate, you know that pi is equal to mass of solute upon molecular mass into volume into RT. So, by this formula you are going to calculate the molecular weight also. For if you want to calculate molecular weight, just put it here, and here you will be calculating the molecular weight using this equation. I hope all the colligative properties are clear to you, and students, these colligative properties are very important from the board point of view. Some questions may come in your exams regarding this, to calculate the elevation in boiling point, to calculate the Kb, Kf and definitely the molecular weight. Thank you for watching my video. That's all today in this chapter colligative properties. Students, I hope that you're liking my videos, and don't forget to comment, like and subscribe. I'll be preparing more and more videos. Thank you.